Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Tracy Rather from Plum Crazy Stamping, and it is Monday, March 16th, the Monday after the big blizzard that we had here in Wisconsin, the Midwest, and a lot of people have been affected. So I don't know if you were snowed in like I was this weekend, but I took advantage of that opportunity and did a lot of crafting. Anyway, as you're joining me today, sign in. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, you can do the same as long as you are signed into your Google account or your YouTube account. And then you can use the comments. So today I thought that as I wrapped up the Stamp Out Stress, our SOS Challenge, I would just review a bit of what we did. Just want to let you all know that I am leaving the videos in place. So if you were one of the 84 people that registered for this challenge and didn't have the opportunity to finish the videos, they will be available for one more week. And then I will make them available if somebody would like to purchase them. And more information will be coming on that opportunity. And then we're going to talk about all the people that won daily prizes, and we're going to do the grand prize drawing. And then we're going to wrap up today. So, all right, let's go ahead, and I want to show you the desktop here. All right, so this was the banner that was in the Card Conversations Facebook group, which is where all of the challenge information and the cards that everybody that was participating or the pictures that they took were shared. So once again, if you're not a member of that group and you're interested in seeing what happened during the challenge, you can just go to Plum Crazy Stamping Card Conversations Facebook group and ask to join. And then I can let you into that group so that you can see what that is like. We also do card challenges in there, and just it's one place that I can directly communicate with all of you. So let me move this to the side, and let's go ahead and say, today I consider a bit of a celebration. So over the last week, the individuals that participated in the challenge turned their scraps into cards. We all have a lot of stash, if you will, of our paper crafting supplies or scraps from projects and cards that we've made before. And so let's not, let them go to waste. Let's use them. We liked them the first time around, so it's great to use them on the second time. We learned new techniques on how to use scraps. We organized part of our stash on Wednesday. We did some creative confidence building by using the same card design, but doing it in different ways. And then also put some thought into our own personal style. Now, I really think that's worth something, some celebrating. So let's see. I loved seeing what was in the Card Conversations group during last week. The cards that people made were absolutely beautiful, inspiring, and really fun. So, unfortunately, very few people completed all 5 days, but there were participation in all of the days, which was great. So let me share how we started out with day one. The challenge was just to make a card with your scraps. So here's the one that I had shared. And I just took some scraps that I had from 2 different pieces of designer series paper that were in the same package, and I made strips and I put them on here at different elevations using glue and dimensionals, framing out another scrap that was from that same paper, and then actually stamped right on another piece of that, and then added some gems. So a very easy card. Used up something that was just sitting there waiting to get used. I put a scrap inside here and did 2 sentiments for a birthday card. So this was very quick, very easy, and just one example. And on day 1, when that was shared, KT actually won the video class and 1, 2, 3 guide for easy stamping and card making. And that was a $20 value, and she had that emailed to her. Let's see. Let's go on to day 2. And day 2 was using 3 different techniques to use your scraps. So the first one we did was called using strips as a background. So I just went into a box of paper strips that I had, and I kind of gathered these all in a little pile because the colors kind of matched. I actually went into another scrap box that I keep, where sometimes when I am making one focal image, I'll make a few to save for a day that I'm in a hurry, that I'll be able to make a card. So I actually already had that. I just backed it in one of the colors from the strips. That was also just a scrap that I had, and then added a sentiment and popped that up. And then used another little scrap that I had on the inside of the card. So that was one example. And so I did these, at a diagonal. Well, here's one that I just took actually strips of cardstock I had when I trimmed my cards down for either card bases or card fronts, and put them on I think the 3 3/4 by 5-inch card front, and then trimmed them all. And then I went into my scrap sentiments and focal images. I actually punched the round circle to highlight this, but this decorative edge was from one of my paper pumpkins. And I just put that on here, but they were all just waiting for me to use them. So one way to keep track of these kind of scraps, which is really easy, is when I am trimming off what is, these kind of, they vary from different widths, but I just put them in this one little basket, and it's right next to my crafting area, so it's very easy for me to use. And then sentiments, either sentiment labels or things with sentiments that are already stamped, are in that little case, and they're also right next to me, and it makes my using my scraps very easy. So that was making a background from strips of your scrap paper. The next one we did was do a patchwork blocks. And in this case, I decided to I had literally these squares were already cut. And so I just took a matching card front that was 4 by 5 1/4, and then laid these out. Now they were overlapping a little bit because I wanted to add some interest and kind of make this look like a quilt. So then I just trimmed off the extra areas to create this card front, and took out a label that I had and matched it when I stamped the sentiment to be what was this one? I think it was either pecan pie or early espresso, and then just put white inside the card. But then I did another one of those cards with this same technique. Now these squares are all the same size. I believe they are, let's see. These are squares of 1 3/4. So the first thing I did was put 6 of them on the front of the card. And this was all in the same designer series paper. And I must have been doing something with squares because these were already cut. And then I had to cut a few more just to add to it. But then I added them in a different direction. And I popped up the middle one with dimensionals and just did a sentiment along the edge there. But that was very easy, and then used the same, not sure if this was Timid Tiger or no, this was Peach Pie. So this was the 25 to 27 in colors. And so that was a very easy card to make as well. So that was the second technique that we taught. And then the third one was collage. And this, I love this card design for using scraps, because actually I have done collage cards before and I had all kinds of ripped up scraps and I could just place them on this card and I still have more to make another card. I did use a die set that I have called Gorgeously Made, and it has this little notebook looking die, and I love that. So I put that on here, and then I just used another one of those labels that I already had die cut, and then added some gems, as well as putting Blackberry Bliss sentiment on the inside. So always needing those birthday cards. What a quick, festive way to make a birthday card, right? And then here's another one using another designer series paper, but also use that die that I really like in that Gorgeously Made, or I'm sure that you have, if you are someone that likes to use dies, you have foliage. That's really pretty to put on top of some ripped pieces of paper, and then just popping up a sentiment and using another scrap inside. And then don't forget, you can use your scraps on the back of an envelope. Now this did not perfectly, it wasn't big enough to fit the whole flap, but it still looks nice, even partial on this flap. And that is just a scrap. So a way to get something out of that as well. All right. And then the third, let's see if I can think of what this one even was. What was it? Now I'm testing my memory. Maybe one of you can remind me what the third technique was. I think it's using the same thing, but doing it in different colors. So this was, I actually had 3 scraps, I'm sorry, actually 9 scraps from the same paper that were 1.5 inches by 3 3/4. And I decided to use those 9 scraps to make all 3 of my cards. But what I did was do it differently. Oh, I know. Now I'm on actually day 4. Let's do day 4, then we'll go back to day 3. So these were the 3 techniques that we had on day 2. Oh, and let me remind you, so Kim actually won the prize for that day, and she won the Oops Proof Your Crafts Creative Fixes for Common Errors guide. That was a $17 value. So congratulations, Kim. Oh, there you are. Hello, Kim. And then day 3, we'll go back to. Day 4 was make 1 card design and then use the same card design, but do it differently. So many times we feel like every time we make a card, we have to create a new card design. Oh no, you know how we become experts at things is practicing, and maybe practicing with the same thing, but doing it differently. So let me show you this. So like I said, 3 pieces of scrap designer series paper. And this one I decided to make monochromatic. So this is Pebble Path, which is the color that's the designer series paper. I put it on a Pebble Path card base and then just stamped a random sentiment on a circle that I punched out. And then I added some other scraps that were in the same color on the inside of this card. Okay, so that was the first one using that card design. But now let me grab another one, and you're going to see how different this is. So this is the same 3 scraps from the designer series paper. You can tell that one side is the roses and one side is texture. This time I decided to show all 3 types of texture, but back this with a card front of bright and cheery designer series paper. Put it on, this was Berry Burst. And then I had this scrap, but I used the same die cutting set to create a background with Berry Burst. And then did a little bit of another scrap that was from this card front. And then stamped in here with Berry Burst. So that is a second card using the same design. Now let's look at the third one that I did and how different this looks. So this time I used all the rose ones across, but I decided to put this on Mossy Meadow. I had 2 other scraps that were Mossy Meadow, and I just put that to be an additional background piece and add some, I guess, detail to this card. Then this was another scrap, and I actually stamped Mossy Meadow on there, kind of making everything but the designer series paper in a monochromatic design. And then this I just left, white because I wasn't sure. I could use this for a lot of different reasons, so I might add a sentiment later, or I might just write a note. But that's the third card using the same design, and see how different they appear. And then I did another one of these cards during the week, and I had another just texture scrap, and I decided to back that up with, this is Wild Wheat and Pretty Peacock, because this was in my little case of sentiments I'd already stamped. So I used that for inspiration and put another scrap that I had from my little basket in here to make that look different, but same design. And that one looks different. Okay, and the person that won from day 4, the A to Z adhesive guide, and that had a value of $9.95, was Kathy. So Kathy, congratulations, and thank you for participating in day 4. And I think before I'll go back to day 3, I'm going to do day 5 here, because day 5 was creating a card with a design that we felt shared our personal style. So of course, I had to go to purple. You all know how much I love that. And then I actually had this scrap, which I had stamped a sentiment on, but I didn't like the way it looked, but I didn't want to throw out the die cut. So this was just in a little pile of scraps. Then I had this one when I was doing some watercoloring, and I made some extra copies of it. And then when I set this on top of this dark colored or crumb cake background, I thought it kind of got lost. So I used the same set of dies and just added Highland Heather. And then this card front was very plain, and I didn't like that. So I decided to actually cut out a 4 by 5 1/4 inch card front and ran it through an embossing folder to make actually the card front, and then layer up all of these other layers that I had in my scraps. And then I had Highland Heather, which was the end of a spool of ribbon I had. And then some of the bling we've had from, I think you can still get these guys, the brushed butterflies. So that was my personal card. And then whoever said that just putting one of my scraps that was in the basket, I decided to put that through the embossing folder as well to add to the inside of the card. So don't forget to, step up the inside of the card. And then this was in my sentiments that I had already done with Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape and Fussy Cut out. What a perfect sentiment to put inside this card. So those were all scraps that were just sitting there waiting to find their way, right? Okay, so those are examples. The person that won the day 5 challenge drawing was the Ultimate Card Inspiration Collection, and that was Diane, and that has a $30 value. So once again, thanks to all those people that participated and won those prizes. So let me move this out of the way, and we'll talk about what happened on day 3. The great thing is, doing this challenge and preparing for this challenge for all of you, I made myself 15 cards. It was great. Okay, so day 3 was trying to organize just one thing in our stash, okay? So one of the things that I found I had a whole mess of was I have all these pieces of linen thread, but they were all over the place, or they were in old paper pumpkin boxes. And I decided to grab them. Some of them are still in plastic. Some I didn't put back in their plastic. But what I did is rolled them all up and put them in this basket. And now this is right next to where I stamp. So I'm going to challenge myself to use these and not let them just sit somewhere. And then it was looking at all my ribbon that was loose. And what I did is, and you may have seen this already, and if not, let me show you. These are going to roll away. Anyway, there is a set of stamps, or punches, I'm sorry, that are a slit, one that has a little notch in, and this is a 1/8 inch punch, okay? And what you do, so this is a scrap from when I make card fronts from Basic White. And you just take your roll and you put this inside here. And then you wrap this around and glue it and trim it after you punch it. So these thinner ribbons, I punched with the 1/8 inch. And then you put it through there. And when I put these all together in my little basket that's on the side in my cart, it's not all loose and all tangled up. And I can see exactly what it is. And then with the ribbon that is more flat, do the same thing, only using the flat punch. Now, these are still available in the online exclusives. And I love this. And then this punch that has that little extra notch, I use the more decorator kind of ribbons that are thicker. And then that notch makes room for a thicker ribbon. So just thought I would share that with you. And day 3, Betty won the Heartfelt Sympathy Card Tutorial and Message Guide. And that has a $9.95. Actually, it's like a $20 value, but it is something that people that join my mailing list have an opportunity to buy for $9.95. Okay, so let's do another card quickly together and show how easy it is to just take scraps, make a card, and have something to drop in the mail, today, tonight, whatever. So what I did is I looked at, so I have a whole basket full of 6x6 papers that have I put scraps inside with the 6x6 paper that matches. So these were the 3 scraps that I had that all match, all part of the same designer series paper. And I thought, all right, I'm going to use those. And then what did I want to do for a card base? Well, I just decided, because I keep card bases cut and they're right above my head here on a shelf. This is the vertical cut of an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. So it's cut at 4 1/4 across, and then it is scored at 5.5. And I have my card base, and that's just basic white. And then I have just white in case I'm going to need to back something. So I'm just going to keep that as a choice here. And I always have, this is the front card insert size of 4 by 5 1/4. And hi, Susan, nice to see you. And then I went into my binder of scraps. And this is Daffodil Delight, which is one of the colors that match here. And then this was in the little basket I showed you. And this is Calypso Coral, 3 different sizes of things that I could use to make this card. Okay. Then I decided that I'm just going to make a thinking of you card because I'm not sure who I want to send it to. And so this is from Sentimental Framing. Excellent set of sentiments. And then I got Calypso Coral ink. So let's go ahead and put together a card and see literally how fast this comes together. So I'm going to take this largest piece and I'm going to make a card front to go on the front of my card base here. And I'm just going to cut this at my standard 4 by 5 1/4. So let's see if I do this. I hope I don't mess up my computer. I'm over the edge here, but let's go for and by 5 1/4. Okay, just set those off to the side. And then I'm going to use this to actually stamp my sentiment on. Now this scrap, let me see what this measures. This is 3 inches by 4 inches. Well, I think that's going to be really nice right on there. But I'm going to cut this then to be 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. So let's do this way first. 3 3/4. And then I'm going to go this way and do 2 3/4. And if I did that right, then this should fit right inside this frame. All right, it does. Okay, and then let's see. I'm going to fussy cut, I think, one of these flowers out here to put on the edge of this. So let's just take this first full flower we have and fussy cut it. And I'm leaving a generous border, if you will, around this flower so you can see the white outline. Okay. Now, I don't know. I think maybe I'll do 2 of these. It looks kind of plain. I think I want to add some dimension by actually having one be glued down flat and the other one I'm going to pop up on a dimensional. right. So let's go ahead and stamp on here and see if there's any other things we want to do to this card. So I'm going to do my Calypso Coral. Now this, I think I was tipping it to the top there. And I'll tell you what, I want my Pierce mat here since we're using a photopolymer stamp. Oh, I'm going to keep it this way. And I'm going to just wipe off the upper edge of this stamp. Oh, boy. Okay, and I'm going to center this. Okay, we've got our greeting. And I'm just going to glue this on here. All right. And let's glue the front on our card. That side would be pretty too. And I think to make this a little more interesting, I'm going to move this out of the way. I am going to pop up the card front here too. All right. There we go. And then I'm going to take the two flowers I have, and this one I am going to glue down. Okay. And then this one, you know what? I'm going to have to do them on both sides of this. All right. So if I had a third flower, that would be good, but I'm looking to see where are my, I'm going to grab my gems. Just a minute. And they are not right on my desk front. Let's see. What colors are these? No, they're not the right ones. Let's see what. That one might be all right. Ooh. Maybe some white pearls. Let's do that. Get my take your pick tool here. And I think I'm just going to put it in the center. Boy, one went flying already. Where'd it go? There it is. And I think I'm going to put just a real small one, just to have that rule of 3 right by our sentiment. Okay, and then so, oops. It's kind of bugging me that I don't have 3 flowers. I kind of like to do things in an odd number. So you know what? I have a partial flower, and I'm going to make that work on the front of this. Let me just show you as I was looking at this thought just occurred to me. It doesn't have to be a full flower. I'm actually going to put it right here underneath. And then it'll look like a third flower. Just a little bit. It probably doesn't matter in the big picture, but it was bugging me. So let's do that. And I like that this is a little bit deeper color too. So I'm going to line up that cut edge there. And I actually could have put the third pearl. Now I'm going to go from 3 to 5 pearls. That'll help that one pop out. And then having this other little one, as I chase it around the card here, I think I'll put that on the other side of the sentiment. If I can catch it. There we go. All right, I like that. I think that just helped. And then I tell you what, I'm going to take the thinnest of these pieces and just put that inside. Just so it's not all white. And then when I do put a sentiment on the inside, I'll stamp it in Calypso Coral. All right. So that is a card, and you could see that, what did it take me? Maybe 10 minutes. And many times when I pull out one, set of scraps like this, there's other ones that match, and I can quickly make it actually 2 cards. Okay, so the other thing that is going on with Plum Crazy Stamping right now is the celebration of National Craft Month. And so one of the things that I'll be sending to everybody in the challenge, and this will also be going to everyone on my email list, I am doing monthly specials, and some higher price things I'm actually doing at a 50% discount. And other things have a couple dollars off. So I just thought I would give you a quick overview of these. And like I said, this will be available with a link on my Facebook page. This will be in the mailing list, and a special email will go to challenge participants. Hi, Corey. Let's see. So if you aren't aware already, the 11 cards in 60 minutes class, which is tomorrow night, and there is going to be a replay, is usually my classes are $29.95. You can get an early bird discount, but I've actually got this for $15. So it's a 50% discount from the regular price. And I'm going to be teaching a one-sheet wonder. That is using one piece of 12 by 12 designer series paper to make 11 cards. And we're going to do that in an hour. So really fun. If you haven't signed up, you still can. And like I said, if you can't come tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Central Time, it will be on the replay. There will be a video and a tutorial available. And anyway, this is one of the grand prizes for the Stamp Out Stress Challenge. And the winner of this class is Kim. And Kim, you're online right now, so I can let you know that this will be, the registration for this is coming your way. So congratulations. And that's for completing all 5 days of the challenge. You were in the drawing. And then the second online event that I'm doing, and actually this is an extra crop this month for National Craft Month, and it's going to be a 3-hour online crafting session that I'm going to host on Zoom, so we'll be able to talk to one another. We're going to share designs for using the things in your stash and your scraps. There's going to be some fun prize drawings during this crop. And usually these cost $14.95, and I have marked this at $8 this month. And that is to be able to hopefully encourage more of you to experience one of our crops, because we have a great time. It's so fun to see what everybody does, and it's scheduled time to do some paper crafting. So that is going to be March 28th. 9 a.m. to 12 noon Central Time. And this was the second prize for the Stamp Out Stress Challenge. And the winner of the crop is Renee. So Renee, congratulations. Thank you for completing all days of the challenge. And I will be sending you the information to participate in the crop. Now, the crop is not a videotaped event. It is live only. So if you want to do this, you would have to be able to come to the crop on Saturday, March 28th from 9 in the morning till noon, or stay as long as you want. Hi, Kathy, and Kim, you're welcome. Okay, so then the things that I gave as prizes during the week, I decided to share at a discount during this month too, to help you with your paper crafting. So something that would be very helpful for beginners or someone that just would like some inspiration is the video class. And there's a number of videos in here, the 1-2-3 guide for easy stamping and card making. So this goes over a lot of basics about ink and paper and, how to get started. And that is usually $20, and it is only $10. Then there is the Oops Proof Your Crafts, and that's creative fixes for common errors and how to do that. So I don't know about you, but I make mistakes, but so many times they become the creative opportunity to make something new. And it's just sharing a lot of ideas about that to take kind of the stress out of your craft making. So this is half price at $9. Then the Heartfelt Sympathy Card Tutorial and Message Guide. I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel a little stressed about making sympathy cards. And so this has 6 tutorials in it for making sympathy cards, but it also has a message guide. So different circumstances, different ways that people lose their loved ones. There are suggestions in there for how to maybe write the message or to give you ideas about that. There are quotes to help someone remember their loved ones. Lots of information in there to kind of try to find the right words, as well as a card design for sympathy cards. And that's also $9. And then there is the A to Z adhesive guide. And that just is a great overview of all kinds of adhesive, different kind of projects and what adhesive is recommended for it, and then the tips and tricks to save time, avoid a mess, and make sure things stay stuck together. And that's also $9. And then last, there is the Ultimate Card Inspiration Collection. If I'm remembering correctly, this is over 100 pages. And no, it's over 100 cards. There's 88 pages of design inspiration, as well as tutorials in here and all kinds of inside scoop for you to be inspired in making cards. And that's usually $30, and right now it's available for $15. So as I said, this is going to be available to you. You would email me with the things that you wanted, and then I will send an invoice and then send everything to you digitally upon receiving payment. If you have any questions about these, don't hesitate to reach out to me at Tracy, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. And I'd be happy to help you get these specials. I'm so excited to do this, to give you a little something extra. And at the beginning of the year, I think this month is still a big craft month, as is April and May, before we go into summer, where I know people take a break, from their crafting sometimes. So anyway, I guess that's all I really have for you today. Let me go back to this and say, thanks again. This challenge was a lot of fun for me. I hope it was a lot of fun for those of you that participated. And for those of you that haven't, I hope being able to see this wrap up will inspire you to join us next time. So we'll be doing another challenge in a month or two. And I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to continue to inspire and to help you with your paper crafting. So anyway, have a great day. Take care, and we'll talk soon. If not before, it'll be on Wednesday. We'll have our free card making lesson at 1 o'clock that day. Take care, friends. Bye-bye now.